Hello, welcome to another session in mathematics lesson. In today's lesson, we'll look at quadratic equation. But before that, let us take a look at a previous lesson. Welcome back. In this lesson today, we'll be looking at completing the square method of quadratic equation. Completing the square method, the second method of quadratic equation. We apply this completing the square method in quadratic equation if the equation cannot be solved by factorization method that we studied last time. So whenever a quadratic equation cannot be solved using factorization method, then we apply completing the square method. Okay, and the essence of using the completing the square method is to make the equation to become a perfect square in the form x plus y squared. Okay, and then when we want to solve quadratic equation using completing the square method, some steps are applied when solving quadratic equation using this method. Some steps are applied. Therefore, let's look at those steps even as we solve some examples. We have example number 1 on the screen. Evaluate x squared minus 6x plus 7 equal to 0 using completing the square method. Okay, the very first thing we need to do, which is step 1, is to arrange the terms containing what? X squared and x on the left hand side of the equation, while the constant will be on the right hand side. Okay, remember our equation is x squared minus 6x plus 7 equal to 0. And step 1 said we should arrange the terms containing x squared and x on the left hand side. So we have x squared minus 6x on the left hand side, while we have 7 crossing over the equalities and it becomes what? Minus 7, which is a constant. Said it should be what? On the right hand side of the equation. And then step 1 is satisfied. So let's go to step 2. Step 2 said that the coefficient of x squared must be what? Unity. What does it mean for it to be unity? It is unity when the coefficient is 1. And in our equation, we have x squared minus 6x to be equal to minus 7. We have x squared minus 6x to be equal to minus 7. So what is the meaning of the word coefficient? Coefficient is the number in front of x squared. Okay, the number in front of x squared here is 1, and the coefficient of x is the number in front of x. So the coefficient of x is what? Minus 6. Is that clear? Okay, now they said that the coefficient of x squared must be what? Unity. And the word unity means what? 1. If it is not unity, then we divide through by the coefficient of what? X squared to make it to become what? Unity. But in this case, the coefficient is already unity, so we cannot divide through. So we proceed to step 3. Step 3 said we should add to both sides the square of half the coefficient of x. The square of half the coefficient of x. So the first thing we need to do is to first of all find the coefficient of x. Coefficient of x is minus 6, and then we are asked to find half of it. Half of it means 6 times what? Half. And that will give us what? Minus 6 all over 2, which is equal to minus 3. And then they said we should square it. That's why we have the square of the half, the coefficient of what? X. So we square minus 3. That is minus 3 what? Squared. And the step said we should add it to both sides of the equation. So this is what we add to both sides of the equation. And for the left hand side, we have x squared minus 6x, then plus minus 3 squared, since the step said we should add, so it should be what? Plus. And this is equal to, bring down your minus 7 plus minus 3 all squared. Is that okay? We're done with that. Let's go over to step 4. Step 4 said we should express the quadratic expression that we've gotten in the form x plus p squared, where p is what? A constant. Express it to be what? In this form, x plus p squared. Okay, what are they trying to make us do? They're trying to make us express this equation that we got in step 3 to become what? A perfect square. That is what they're trying to make us do. Okay, the step is requiring of us to make this a perfect square. A perfect square means we should pick this that has square and this too that has what? Square. Why this is ignored? Okay, let's write them over here. We have x squared minus 6x plus minus 3 squared to be equal to minus 7 plus minus 3 squared, and we are asked to make it to be of this form. Therefore, we then have x minus 3 all squared. I told you we pick this and pick this, and then take one of their powers. Why this is ignored? Okay, and then this is equal to minus 7 plus 3 raised to the power 2 is 9. Is that correct? Yeah. So we continue. We then have x minus 3 all squared to be equal to minus 7 plus 9 will give us what? 2. Then we have x minus 3 squared to be equal to 2, and step 5 said we should take what? The square root of both sides. Take the square root of both sides, and therefore we have square root of x minus 3 all squared to be equal to plus or minus square root of 2. Okay, and this will cancel this. Remember that the square root of any number raised to power 2 is the same number. Okay, if this eliminates this, then we have x minus 3 to be equal to plus or minus the square root of 2. Okay, let's take the last step, which says solve for x. Solve for x, and x minus 3 is equal to plus or minus square root of 2. Is that correct? So x is equal to 3 plus or minus square root of 2 is 1.414. Okay, therefore x is equal to 3 plus 1.414, or 3 minus 1.414. Okay, for this we have x to be equal to 4.414, or we have x to be equal to 1.586. so these are the two values of x. Okay, example number 2, and we have 3x squared. Simplify 3x squared equals 18 minus 25x. The first thing we need to do is to arrange this to be in the quadratic form: a x squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So by that we have 3x squared plus 25x. Remember, this 25 crossing over becomes a positive 25, then minus 18 equal to 0. Okay, so we start. Step 1 said we should place this and this in the left hand side of the equation. So we have 3x squared plus 25x to be equal to what? 18. Okay, now we divide through by 3. This will cancel this, and 25 cannot be divided by 8, and this is 3. Okay, so we have x squared plus 25 over 3x, to be equal to 18 divided by 3 will give us what? 6. Okay, now we are to add to both sides of the equation the square of half of the coefficient of x. So the coefficient of x here is 25 over 3, and half of it is 1 over 2, and that will give us 25 over 6. 25 times 1 is 25, 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, and then we square it and add it to both sides. So therefore we have x squared plus 25 over 3x plus 25 over 6 squared to be equal to 6 plus 25 over 6 squared. Okay, what do we have then? Let's go over. We have okay, the next thing we are going to do is to make this equation to be of the form x plus b all squared, where b is a constant. Okay, so by that we have x plus 25 over 6 all squared to be equal to 6 plus 25 squared, that is 25 times 25 will give us 625, and 6 squared is equal to what? and then 6 squared is equal to what? 36. Okay, so we have x plus 25 over 6 squared to be equal to, this is 6 over 1, so we take the LCM. Okay, LCM here is 36. 1 into 36 is 36. 36 times 6, 36 times 6 will give us 216 plus 36 into itself is 1 times this, we have 625, and then we have x plus 25 over 6 all squared to be equal to 265 plus 625, and then that will give us 841 all over 36. And then the next step is to do what? To square both sides. If we square both sides, what do we have? We have x plus 25 over 6 to be equal to plus or minus square root of 841 all over 36. Okay, so we have x plus 25 over 6 to be equal to plus or minus square root of 841 is 29, and the square root of 36 is 6. So making x the subject of formula, we have x to be equal to minus 25 over 6 plus or minus 29 over 6. Therefore, our x is equal to minus 25 plus 29 over 6, or minus 25 minus 29 over 6. Okay, for the first one, minus 25 plus 29 will give us 4 over 6. 4 over 6, or minus 29 minus 25 will give us 54. Give us minus 54 over 6, and 2 here will give us 2, 2 here will give us 3. Okay, then for this, 54 divided by 6 will give us 9, so we have our x to be equal to 2 over 3 or minus 9. So these are the two values of x, 2 over 3 or minus 9. Having covered the completing the square method of quadratic equation, kindly answer the question on the screen. Welcome back. We'll call it a day here today. So far we've been able to cover quadratic equation by completing the square method. Do well to use the lesson note on the platform for better information on what we've just studied today. Feel free to drop your question or comment on the comment section, and in our next class we'll continue with the formula method of quadratic equation. Till then, stay safe and bye.